that has finished West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 2. We've got Tony here. We've also got Sean's going to join us in a little minute. Sean actually, I was going to say Sean won a competition with Patreon to join us for this game. It's more like a curse. Do you know what I mean? It's more like a curse. Look, let me get a few things right before I get the opinion of the boys here. I'm disgusted with that. I'm absolutely disgusted. That was quite close to Moyes' best team, including the 180 million he spent, by the way. I think we've seen the first signs of dissent for a while from the crowd, who once Saïd Benrahma was substituted, was singing "Well, Saïd Benrahma," which was basically defiance. Would you agree, Tone? Defiance then?
Yeah, totally, mate.
So there was defiance from the crowd, basically as a response to David Moyes' substitution. But that was a lack of ambition. And by the way, unfortunately, I'm not able to prove this on a video, but I was actually saying during the game that we were allowing Elise sighters to curl it in. And we were allowing Zaha sighters, we were allowing Eze sighters. We still shouldn't have conceded at the end. We actually had an attack with Antonio. They counter-attacked us, they scored the goal. But that really only tells half the story. Please don't let this be spun as some sort of rough justice. Crystal Palace deserved to win that game. I started doing a video which will be the vlog on our Patreon channel, and in that I was doing a little summary because I think they scored like 93rd, 94th minute, something like that.
Yeah.
So I started doing a summary on that before they scored their final goal, saying that we'd got away with a draw. I thought we got away with it. I thought we were lucky to get a draw, quite frankly. Anyway, so I thought there was a lack of ambition. I thought we were a defensible game, a paucity of ambition. Skamaka was withdrawn at half time. I don't think that was a bad idea, but let's be fair, Antonio did no better, which probably speaks a lot more about the system than it does about the individual players. If neither player can thrive within that system, it ain't particularly good, is it? So we got Tony there. There's Sean there, by the way, who, as I say, was unlucky enough to win a competition to visit this game. Tony, what are your thoughts, mate?
Well, it's always difficult to separate. The problem is at the moment we seem to be locked between this, it seems to be hard to talk about the game and not talk about the regime, the Moyes thing.
You do what you want, mate.
Well, no, I'm just saying, because basically, we can talk about the game, but it's impossible not to go on to why we lost. And the why we lost comes back to the Moyes regime, and we lost because he's got a £35 million Italian number 9 who he's trying to shoehorn into a Michael Antonio role, right? And he's got previous with that. He's done it before, and I'm seeing nothing to suggest that he's going to do anything different in the near future, right? Paqueta looks, I don't know whether Paqueta looked uninterested or just not fit. Maybe both, I don't know.
Sure.
Skamaka looked utterly uninterested. He looked unhappy. That's a major worry. That's £85 million worth of club investment into 2 players who looked very unhappy. They look more than that, they look out of place. It looked like we started 9 players plus Skamaka and Paqueta in that team. They look out of place. It was awful. It was abject. I cannot believe how bad it was. Do you know what? I hate it when I'm actually a little bit optimistic about a game, because this happens. I thought, you know what? That, as you said, the starting lineup, apart from Downs, who I'd like to have started for Souček, that was my starting lineup. Now that is Moyes' best 11. And if that's the best he can do,
with the exception of a Gerd.
Again, sorry, yeah.
No, but it's close enough. With the exception of a Gerd, that's as close as David Moyes gets. Bearing in mind all the money he's spent, that's as close he gets to his sort of dream lineup.
I cannot believe. I said to you at the start of the game, it seems as though there's. It is now common knowledge. It appears to be common knowledge in football that we are slow starters. It's the easiest management team talk. If you're playing West Ham, get at them early days. They do not like starting quickly, right? You will get something out of the game if you start at them. Now, they started at us. We were very, very lucky to not be at least 1 or 2 goals down. We got a brilliant goal from Benrahma, but it was polishing a very large turd. It really was, Sorry,
no, not at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that microphone off for you. I'm going to clip that onto Sean there, which should hopefully work there, my friend. Second time you've been this season, or was it first time this season?
First time this season.
Well, come on,
and
tell
it
me
was
what
a
you
good
made
time
of
to come, wasn't it? I mean, that was the worst I've seen us play in a long time.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, Crystal Palace, they seem to have the whole game in their hands, really. We was never in that game. First half and second half, never in it. First 10-15 minutes, all Palace. We couldn't even get the ball. Really frustrating. I think, as you said, the line-up was pretty much as good as it gets. I would have put Downs in instead of Souček. Maybe you put Fornals in the recent form, maybe. Or you at least put him on earlier.
But more or less, as an 11, it was pretty good. It was what we expected.
Oh, yeah.
What we hoped for, not even what we expected. I thought he went a little bit more attacking than we expected. I was expecting, maybe that Flynn Downs would have been playing in the attack midfield, but he went with Paqueta and he went with Ben Rama next to him. Yeah. And Ben Rama was having a good game, Sean.
Oh, he was having a brilliant game, and as soon as he went off, the crowd was singing his name. It's a real shame to see him off. I mean, on form, you leave him on. I mean, we're all sitting there as sort of armchair managers, if you like, but to me, it's common sense.
Yeah.
Ben Rama stays on, he's playing well. Paqueta, not in the game. Scamacca wasn't in the game. Okay, he took Scamacca off and brought Antonio on. Probably a good call because,
yes.
as you rightly said, Scamacca and Paqueta, they were like two invisible men. They just were never in the game at all. But Paqueta probably should have come off earlier. And to see Ben Rama come off is sad. I mean, he frustrates me as a player, Ben Rama, sometimes, but you don't take him off in this game when he's playing like that.
Yeah. No, I can understand defensively. Maybe, he does lack a little bit of bite and a little bit of snap, but he was one of the few people, this is what I was worried about, He was one of the few people that was going to score a goal on that, and when Moyes took him off, it was 1-1, and I thought at that point, is David Moyes now thinking, I'm going to take this draw. Did you think David Moyes wanted to take the draw?
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
Seems so.
Yeah,
I was very surprised at the Lanzini substitution. It seemed like he was content with a draw. To be honest, we were lucky. We would have been lucky to get a draw today. They fully deserved it today.
It was flattering us at the time. It really was. The 1-1 was flattering us. The other thing that really scared me what worried me was when he put. Who is it? He took off. That's right. He took off. Hang on a minute. Trying to remember the game now. He brought on. For Christ's sake, help me out, mate.
Souček came off for Downs.
Yes.
Antonio came off for Scamacca.
And who's the other sub?
Ben Rama Lanzini.
Yeah. So we talked about the Ben Rama substitution. Yeah. And then we talked about. So for me, the biggest worry for me was going back to what you're saying, which was the settling for the draw.
Yeah.
And I mean, Christ, we're at home to Crystal Palace, but it looked like we were settling for the draw. Now we've seen that happen. Away to the Big Six. We're actually seeing it happen now at home to Crystal Palace.
Yeah. We sat back. Well, I think that's really. That's really the point. We sat back and we defended for this game. There was no ambition today. No ambition at all to go for it. And I think that's what worried me. I sort of get it when you've got Fornals playing as a sort of holding wide player. I sort of get it when you've got Souček and you've got Rice in there, and when you're playing Downs as an attacking midfielder. I sort of get it that you're going to defend, but when you've got all those attacking players out there, we still didn't look like we could muster a single attack.
There's one thing I forgot to mention, and that's the. I'm really worried that Moyes has this culture of favourites. We're seeing it, it's like, again, he takes off Ben Rama. What has Ben Rama got to do to play 90 minutes for West Ham United? Yeah. And what has Jared Bowen got to do to not play 90 minutes for West Ham United? I mentioned to you, there was a story out in the... and this wasn't... This was a story. Moyes was quoted saying this, and it was to do with Jared Bowen's World Cup chances. And he said something to the world... I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
He said something along the lines of, I really want Bowen to play in the World Cup, So it seems as though like he's almost single-mindedly, he won't bring him off because he doesn't want to ruin his world. And that's that is a favourites culture, and that is a cancer in any squad, in any football. And Moyes has to be held accountable for that. You cannot have a favourites culture in any squad of football.
Well, I'm gonna round it up a little bit now. You talk about the favourites culture. You talk about Moyes has got to be held responsible for that. I think the crowd started to hold him responsible for that. There's been times when I've heard the internet saying Moyes out, but the crowd have been saying, basically singing for David Moyes. That was different today. That was the crowd very much saying you should be taking Ben Rama off.
Can I just say one more?
2 seconds. But there's no way that Bowen should have stayed on the pitch and Bowen went and Ben Rama went off. That was wrong. What was it?
So also the thing is as well is that I think that the European campaign has been fantastic. Let's say that.
It's different.
But it has provided, and dare I say, an almost unhealthy distraction from how bad we've been in the Premier League, because it's been almost blinding us to our problems.
Yeah.
We've been winning games and we've been doing really well, but we've been, let's be honest, we've been awful. Like the only games we've won have been against teams that have been poor anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So so this is the thing. So the reality is now we're not playing Europe now until next year.
Yeah.
Now we're in the business end of football, and we are found wanting in the harder games. These are much harder games than what we're playing against the Anderlechts and the Steaua Bucharest and Silke boards. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Look, you know what, we're on to this. And Moyes, this is the thing. We praised Moyes after the European games. He got all that. Go and look at the previous videos. Moyes get lots of praise for getting through the group. It's different. This is Premier League. In many respects, I think our tactics are perfect for Europe. I'll tell you what, they're far from perfect in the Premier League, because I'll tell you what, that was like curry to a piss head, quite frankly, to Crystal Palace there, really. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye. Sean, thank you, mate.
No worries, thanks a lot.
Sorry, he had to win a competition for today, but he did. This is what happens when you sign up to Patreon. You win some competitions, you get to watch the game with myself and Tony, and listen to us whinge all game and sort of stuff Scotch eggs and sausage rolls in our mouth while we moan and whinge. But we passed the sausage rolls around, didn't we, Tony?
We did, mate. The small, your small sausage rolls.
Yeah. It's a very large sausage roll. Anyway, I'll catch up with you tomorrow with a little bit more detail and a sausage roll.